Welcome back, everyone. Ready for another deep dive?
I'm ready. Let's do it.
Today, we're tackling one of the biggest questions out there. Could there be life beyond Earth?
Oh, the big one.
And we're zeroing in on a place that's captured the imagination of scientists for decades, Jupiter's moon, Europa.
Europa, huh?
Europa. This icy moon, and get this, might be hiding a massive ocean beneath its surface.
A whole ocean. Underneath all that ice.
The whole ocean. We're talking about an ocean that could hold twice the volume of all the oceans on Earth combined.
Twice. Wow, that's just
It's mind-blowing.
mind-blowing.
And we've got some hot-off-the-press news to dig into. An article titled, "The Hunt for Life on Europa is About to Kick Up a Gear," dropped recently.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Kick up a gear.
Yeah, because NASA's Europa Clipper mission, which is going to investigate this hidden ocean, is launching this month.
This month.
So we're going to break down everything. The journey to Jupiter, how they're dealing with all that crazy radiation around the planet, and even the chance that the Clipper might sample a plume, like a geyser, erupting from Europa's ocean.
Hold on, plumes. Like shooting out into space.
Yeah, we're talking about potentially getting a direct glimpse into that hidden ocean. Okay, but first things first. Let's set the stage.
All right, stage setting. I like it.
Why is Europa such a rock star in the search for alien life? I mean, we hear about all these other moons and planets, but there's something special about Europa, right?
Yeah, there really is. See, Europa checks a lot of the boxes when we talk about a place that could actually support life.
All right, what kind of boxes are we talking about here?
Well, first off, that giant ocean we mentioned. We're not just guessing here. There's evidence.
Okay, so what kind of evidence?
Oh, back in the day, NASA's Galileo mission, which was orbiting Jupiter, picked up on something interesting, a magnetic field around Europa.
A magnetic field. So what? Lots of celestial bodies have those.
Right, but scientists think this one's special. They believe it's generated by a salty subsurface ocean interacting with Jupiter's own magnetic field.
Yeah, okay, so like a giant layer of salt water conducting electricity under the ice.
Exactly. It's a pretty strong indicator that there's a massive salty ocean down there, kind of like our oceans on Earth.
That's pretty wild. So we've got the water, the salt water. What else are we looking for?
Energy. You need energy for life to exist. Now, sunlight can't penetrate all that ice on Europa, right? But there's another source of energy at play here.
Okay, I'm curious. What's powering this hidden world?
Jupiter's gravity. It's constantly tugging and pulling on Europa, creating friction inside the moon.
So like a cosmic tug of war that actually heats things up.
Yeah, that friction generates heat, which is what scientists believe keeps that ocean liquid.
That's incredible. So Jupiter's gravity, the very thing you'd think would make Europa an icy wasteland, is actually a key ingredient for potential life.
Exactly. It's a great example of how a seemingly inhospitable place can actually have the conditions for life. And there's another piece of the puzzle that makes Europa even more exciting.
I'm on the edge of my seat here. What else is there?
Hydrothermal vents.
You mentioned those earlier. Tell me more about why they're so important in this whole search for life thing.
Think of them like underwater oases. On Earth, we have these vents spewing out heat and chemicals from the planet's interior, and they support these vibrant, thriving ecosystems, even without sunlight.
Wow. So you're saying that similar vents could exist on Europa's seafloor, and they could be teeming with life.
That's the idea. And that's where the Europa Clipper mission comes in. It's our best shot of finding out if any of this is actually real.
Okay, so the tension is building. Give me the rundown. What's the plan for this Clipper mission?
Well, first off, it's not going to land on the surface.
So no touchdown.
Nope. Clipper's going to orbit Jupiter, not Europa directly. One reason is the insane radiation around Jupiter.
Right, that's a death trap for electronics, isn't it? How are they protecting the spacecraft? Did they invent some kind of force field?
Not quite a force field, but they've been pretty clever. The main protection comes from Clipper's special orbit. Instead of circling Europa directly and getting bombarded with radiation, it's going to orbit Jupiter in a much wider elliptical path.
So it's going to swing in close to Europa for quick observations and then scoot back out to a safer distance from Jupiter.
You got it. Over 4 years, it'll make 49 close passes, some as close as 16 miles above Europa's surface. It's like a high-speed recon mission, gathering data as fast as it can.
Okay, but how is it going to see through miles of ice to study the ocean? What kind of tech are we talking about here?
Oh, they got some seriously cool instruments on board. One of the most important is the ice-penetrating radar.
Wait, like X-ray vision for a moon?
Pretty much. It'll let scientists map the thickness of the ice shell, figure out its structure, and maybe even spot pockets of water or differences in the ocean's saltiness.
That's amazing. But even with radar, we're still talking about studying an ocean that's buried under miles of ice. Is there any chance of getting a more direct look at what's down there?
That's where those plumes come in.
Plumes. Okay, tell me more.
Scientists think plumes of water vapor might be shooting out from Europa's ocean, kind of like what we've seen on Saturn's moon Enceladus.
So you're saying there might be geysers erupting from an alien ocean?
It's a possibility, and if they exist, Clipper could fly right through them, taking samples directly from the ocean.
Wow, that's next level science. Instead of drilling through miles of ice, we could just grab a sample from space.
It would be an incredible opportunity.
Yeah.
But even if Clipper doesn't run into any plumes, it can still analyze Europa's atmosphere, which, even though it's incredibly thin, might contain traces of stuff from the ocean.
Okay, so plumes or no plumes, it sounds like Clipper is going to send back a treasure trove of information about Europa. Before we move on, I'm curious, are there any instruments that are specifically designed to look for signs of life? Like, are they going to be sniffing out alien microbes?
Well, they're not exactly going to be sniffing them out, but they have an instrument called MASSPEX. It stands for Mass Spectrometer for Planetary Exploration.
Okay, so what does that do?
It's going to be analyzing the composition of everything, Europa's surface, the atmosphere, even those potential plumes. It's looking for specific chemical signatures that could point to life.
So it's not just finding any old organic molecules, it's about finding the right combination of chemicals, like a fingerprint for life.
You got it.
This is just the tip of the iceberg, and I'm already hooked. What else can you tell me about this groundbreaking mission?
Oh, we're just getting started. There's so much more to uncover. We keep talking about this Clipper mission and all these awesome instruments it's carrying. But I mean, it's seriously impressive. You know, they had to build this thing to survive in one of the harshest environments in our solar system.
Yeah, we talked about that intense radiation around Jupiter earlier. It sounds like a real nightmare for electronics.
Oh, it absolutely is. Jupiter's radiation belts are no joke. If a spacecraft hangs out there too long, the electronics get fried and the whole mission could be toast.
So how did they get around that? I mean, did they have to build like some kind of super duper radiation shield?
Well, they did use radiation shielding. Of course, that's a must-have. But the real key is Clipper's orbit. Remember, it's not orbiting Europa directly, it's orbiting Jupiter in a much wider ellipse.
Right, it's that whole cosmic dance we talked about, swinging in close to Europa for a quick look and then getting out of Dodge before the radiation gets too intense.
Exactly. That's the magic of it. It minimizes the exposure to radiation while still allowing for those close flybys. And during those flybys, Clipper is going to be working overtime, snapping pictures, mapping the surface, analyzing everything it can.
Okay, so they've got this incredible spacecraft, this daring mission plan, but what about the people behind it all who are the masterminds making this happen?
Oh, the Europa Clipper team is amazing. It's a huge group of talented people from all over the world. Scientists, engineers, computer whizzes, even artists, to help visualize the data.
Wow, that's quite the crew. It sounds like a real melting pot of brilliant minds, all united by this one goal of exploring Europa and maybe even finding life.
That's what's so cool about it. Everyone on the team knows how important this mission is. It's not just about science. It's about pushing the boundaries of what we know about the universe and inspiring the next generation.
I bet the excitement is through the roof as the launch date gets closer. What are some of the big questions the team is hoping to answer with this mission?
Well, the biggest one is, of course, is Europa habitable? Does that ocean have what it takes to support life? Life as we know it, or even life as we don't know it?
So it's like putting together a giant puzzle, right? Trying to figure out if all the pieces are there for life to exist.
You got it. And every single instrument on Clipper is going to contribute to solving that puzzle. The radar will give us a peek beneath the surface, the cameras will capture all the details of the icy landscape, and the spectrometers will analyze the chemical makeup of everything they can.
And then there's the possibility of those plumes, those direct samples of the ocean. Can you imagine actually getting our hands on material from an alien ocean?
It would be incredible, wouldn't it? And who knows, maybe we'll find the smoking gun, the definitive proof that we're not alone in the universe.
I get chills just thinking about it. But even if we don't find that undeniable proof of life, the data from Clipper is going to be a game changer. It's going to revolutionize our understanding of Europa and icy moons in general.
Absolutely. And it'll pave the way for future missions, maybe even a lander that could actually touch down on Europa and explore the ocean directly.
Okay, now we're talking a lander on Europa. That would be epic. But that's a whole other deep dive for another day.
Definitely. But for now, let's focus on Clipper. It's going to be an incredible mission, and I can't wait to see what it discovers.
Me too. Speaking of discoveries, we've talked a lot about the science, but let's step back for a minute. What about the bigger picture? How might finding life on Europa impact humanity as a whole?
Ooh, that's a deep one. I think it would have a profound impact philosophically, culturally, you name it. Imagine realizing that we're not alone, that life isn't just this fluke that happened on Earth.
It would change everything, wouldn't it? Our whole perspective on our place in the universe?
For sure. It would force us to reevaluate everything we thought we knew about life and our place in the cosmos. It would be humbling, inspiring, maybe even a little bit scary.
Definitely humbling. It's mind-boggling to think about what would these life forms be like? How would they have adapted to such an extreme environment? Could we even comprehend their existence?
These are the questions that keep me up at night. It's the great unknown, and it's both exhilarating and terrifying.
It really makes you appreciate the power of exploration, doesn't it? It's about pushing the boundaries of what we know, venturing into the unknown, and discovering new truths about ourselves and the universe.
And that's exactly what Europa represents. It's a symbol of that great unknown, a world that beckons us to explore, to learn, to expand our horizons.
It's like a siren call from the depths of space. And thanks to missions like Clipper, we're finally starting to answer that call. We've covered a lot of ground today, huh? Europa's really got me thinking about the possibilities out there.
It's a mind-blowing place, for sure. And who knows what we'll find when Clipper gets there.
So let's say, just for fun, Clipper confirms everything we've talked about. What's next? What's the next step in exploring this alien ocean?
Well, if the data from Clipper is as promising as we hope, the next logical step would be to send a lander.
Whoa, a lander? You mean a spacecraft that would actually touch down on the surface of Europa? That seems incredibly challenging.
Oh, it would be a huge challenge, no doubt. But remember, we've landed rovers on Mars, and we've sent probes to the outer planets. Landing on Europa would be tough, but it's definitely within our capabilities.
So what would be the main goal of a Europa lander? What would we be hoping to accomplish?
The ultimate goal: to search for direct evidence of life. Clipper will give us incredible data from orbit, but a lander could actually collect samples from the surface, maybe even drill through the ice to the ocean below.
Drilling through miles of ice, how would that even work?
It would be a feat of engineering, that's for sure. The ice shell is estimated to be between 10 and 15 miles thick, so we'd need some seriously advanced technology, maybe a combination of drilling and melting probes, something that could gradually work its way down through the ice.
That's wild. What kind of instruments would a Europa lander carry? I mean, what would it actually use to search for life?
Imagine a mini lab packed onto a spacecraft. Microscopes to see tiny organisms, chemical analyzers to sniff out organic molecules, maybe even instruments to sequence DNA or RNA, which could tell us about the genetic makeup of any life they find.
A mobile astrobiology lab on an alien moon. That's just incredible. What if, and this is a big what if, but what if they find complex life? Not just microbes, but actual multicellular organisms, maybe even creatures swimming in the ocean?
That would be the discovery of the century, maybe the millennium. It would mean that life, as we know it, is not a fluke. It's not a one-off event on Earth. It's a fundamental process that can happen anywhere the conditions are right.
And if it's on Europa, who's to say it's not on other icy moons and planets throughout the galaxy? The implications are staggering.
Exactly. It would completely change how we search for life in the universe. And it would force us to think about life in a whole new way.
It wouldn't just be about finding it. It would be about understanding it, learning from it, maybe even protecting it.
Absolutely. It would raise a whole new set of ethical and philosophical questions. How do we interact with alien life? What are our responsibilities? It would make us rethink our relationship with our planet, with the universe as a whole.
It's a humbling thought, isn't it? The realization that we might not be the only intelligent beings out there, that other civilizations might exist with their own unique experiences and perspectives.
It really puts things in perspective, doesn't it? We're just one species on one planet in a vast and mysterious universe.
And Europa is a powerful reminder that there's still so much out there to discover, so many mysteries to unravel.
It's a call to explore, to push the boundaries of what we know, and to never stop asking the big questions.
Well said. This deep dive has been a real eye-opener. Thanks for joining us as we explored the amazing world of Jupiter's icy moon and the search for life beyond Earth. And remember, keep looking up, keep exploring, and never stop wondering.